Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 8th day of February 2024. It is Friday of the third week of Lent. It is the 19th day of the Lenten season, almost to the halfway point of our Lenten journey. Again, it's a very quick-moving journey, it seems, this year, especially because it has come so early, kind of on the tails of Christmas. But yet we have come now to the halfway point almost. Tomorrow will be 20 days, so halfway done through the Lenten season. Once again, our courtyard here at the Franciscan School, our statue of Francis and the Wolf of Goguryeo are behind us. We just completed one more morning prayer again as we continue on our Lenten journey. The readings for today are simple in some ways because it is the great reading from Hosea, in which God, through the prophet Hosea, is calling Israel back. Again, the whole idea, the phrase again, "Come back to me, come back to me." It is God's initiative to ask for us to come back. It is not us waking up and feeling the need to go back to God. It is God basically who is not demanding, who is not ordering us, who is basically begging us to come back to be a part of God, part of God's life. Again, the prophet Hosea, it's a very interesting kind of book because Hosea is called to be a prophet, but then called to marry a woman of ill repute, again, who cheats on him and then leaves him, and Hosea has to call her back. And in all of that, there is the sense in which God, through Hosea, is calling Israel, who is looked at as the person of ill repute. Again, it's a woman, and it kind of gets stereotypical in too many ways and things like that. But the message is still good. The deeper message that basically God is the one who makes the initiative. Again, it's always a sense in which we look at the sacrament of penance and we look at it so wrongly in so many ways, as which I've got to go before the tribunal of God because God is sitting there in judgment of me, and until I ask for forgiveness, God is going to hate me and be angry at me and blah blah blah. It's absurd. Again, this is where it comes from, where we listen too much to our own words. Again, whether there be good and thoughtful priests and good and thoughtful bishops or good and thoughtful popes, they are still only speaking through human words. It's God's words that matter. And where do we find God's words? Well, in Scripture. And it's important just to kind of take a look over there. And sometimes the words that come out of the human voices that seem to want to lead us and tell us the right from wrong and tell us what it is that we seem to do don't often match up with the words and the feelings that are expressed by God and God's own self in Scripture. And case in point, Hosea. It is not a God who is sitting in judgment, demanding that we come back or else, and who wants to throw punishment at us after punishment. But it is a God basically who recognizes the fact that we lose our way countless times. And the reality is we need to find our way back. In many ways, that is what St. Bernard of Siena, I think it was him. I can't remember my own Franciscan people. St. Bernard of Siena was the one who, when preaching in the city of Florence, basically talked about the mission of the Franciscans as bringing back those who have lost their way. Very Hosea. Again, sometimes we Franciscans listen to Scripture too, sometimes we don't. But in the cases that we do, we try to live it out, again, the best way that is possible. And that is our call always, to bring back home those who have lost their way. And that is what Hosea is doing in today's reading, is calling all of us back home. Because sometimes we do lose our way, but we come back home to a God who has open arms. Again, the God who is the Father and the prodigal Son, who doesn't wait for excuses or for apologies or whatever it is, but a God who welcomes the son who has lost his way back home again. That is the wonder and beauty, again, of God, that this Lenten season shows us, that we have to make sure that we are aware of and that we listen to. That is matched with it's either Matthew or Luke. I think it's Matthew this time. But Matthew's got whatever it is the greatest commandment question that is given to Jesus. And again, which is the greatest commandment? Again, out of the 10, which is the greatest? Well, love the Lord with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And then, Jesus says that's all very good and well, and you should do that. But you should also love your neighbor as yourself. Now that is not in the commandments, but again, we take a look always at those 10 little statements. We try to create an entire, theology of what it means to be a person of God out of those 10 statements, and it really is not enough. It never is enough. And we've got to look at the more, again, that God continues to show. God couldn't give Moses, 100,000 stone tablets to carry down from a mountain. It would be absurd. So there are these 10 things. Okay, great. But now there's even more that's in store for us if we dare, to look deeper and to dig deeper into the realization of a God who wants what is best for us, always wants what's best for us. And the way in which we, experience that is to remember that love is the core, love is the center, love is the grounding, love is everything that we only need to care about. The only thing that we need to be focused upon, the only thing we need to be conscious about is love. And love and love and love. To love our neighbor as ourself, to love ourself, to love God in the midst of all of this brings hope, brings wonder, brings joy to our lives. A continued blessed Lent, St. Francis and people of God. May the Lord give you his peace.